Hello, welcome back to the podcast, where today our topic is sports. Woohoo! Don't you love sports? Not me. Sports are okay. I personally am not a huge fan, but I can see the appeal. Can I? Can you see the appeal of sports? You probably love sports. That's why you clicked on this podcast in particular. We are the sports podcast. No, that's not true. We're the podcast. Remember? But no. Sports. That's the topic for today, and that's what's in the thumbnail. Podcast, episode 3, sports. So, what sports are we talking about today? Sports exist in the world, and through the course of history, they have evolved a lot. When sports were first starting out, people mostly just kicked each other, but now they kick other things. You know, sports have really taken a really major role in some people's lives because some people play them. If you don't play them, it's probably also a part of your life too because other people play them. And honestly, sports, I feel like they're in everyone's life. How do you live without knowing sports exist? I don't think you can. Whether you like them or you dislike them, sports are there. They're there. You can't deny that. Personally, I'm not a huge fan, but it's there, and I've played sports, either as part of a league or just as a little fun little guy, as a little fun one. You know, I've played sports. They're okay. They're not the worst thing in the world, but they're far from the best. But if you really like running around, then I recommend playing sport. What even am I doing? I'm advertising sports now. This is not an advertising podcast. This is a podcast. God damn it. Sorry for the swearing. I apologize. I'll never swear again for the rest of my life. I'm sorry. But sports. So I'll name a sport. Hockey exists. What do you do in hockey? You run around and then you hit something. That kind of sums it up. You hit the little puck with your little stick guy, and you hit him into the net. But is actually a little trick to the game. You don't actually want to just hit it into the net. You want to pass it to someone else to hit in the net. Because let's say the goalie is trying to block. The goalie is the person in the net trying to stop you from getting it into the net. If you get it in the net, you get a point, and you're closer to winning. So let's say you shoot it into the net. You hit the puck with your hockey stick. Now it goes into the net, but the goalie stops it. Uh-oh. He saw you coming from a mile away. He just saw you skate up and hit it in. So what's the better strategy? What else are you gonna do? You can pass it to someone else, and then they can hit it in, or they can pass it back to you again, and just keep juking out the goalie until you eventually get it in. That's kind of the strategy. Figure out how the goalie works, and then juke it into the net. Honestly, no one knows how to play sports, so that's why it kind of sucks. But another sport that people like to play is called tennis. Tennis is like hockey, except it's not at all. It's actually the most different sport from hockey. Instead of playing it out in the cold, you play it in... Hockey is played inside in the cold, but tennis is played outside in the heat. And instead of hitting a little puck on the ice, you hit a little ball in the air. And in hockey, you use a stick on the ground, a little stick that slides against the ground, and in tennis you use a racket against the air. They're very much opposites, but I feel like tennis is a better sport because you don't have to run around. And that's probably why I like it, because I don't like running. I'm kind of like a run. I don't like it. I can run pretty fast. I'm like a Sonic the 64, but I'm not. I don't like it. Running is not fun. But tennis, you don't have to move around. It is tiring. It's a tiring sport, but it's a lot. I don't know. It just it feels a lot easier to do. When I play tennis versus I've never played hockey. I can't talk about that. I played soccer though. I played soccer / football / soccer. I played that sport, and honestly, it's tiring. It's very tiring. Even if the game works as intended, it's a tiring sport. Tennis feels a lot less tiring. Because if you do the 2-on-2 especially, it's you only have to cover half the court. So it's just a whole lot easier than being able to run around the whole ice rink like a lot of time. Not running, you're skating. Skating around the rink like so many times, right? Tennis, you just move back and forth in your little square. It's so much easier. And also, in hockey, it's a team sport. Tennis is like 1 or 2 people. You could just do one, but that's like, I like doing one because I don't like team sports as much because I feel like it takes out some of the skill, and like I feel like it encourages people being mean to each other. Because, okay, in a team sport, you are not the sole reason for your win or defeat. You are not what causes it. You are definitely part of it. You're like a 1/16th part of it if there's 16 players on the team. But let's say in tennis, you are 100% of it. Yeah, of course, it's dependent on your opponent, but if your opponent is better than you at tennis, and let's say it's a 1-on-1, then they win. Unless you get really lucky somehow. I don't know how luck is involved in tennis, probably somewhere. But let's say you're better than your opponent, you win like all the time. Whereas let's say a hockey team, you have like the best player ever on a team, but the rest of his team absolutely sucks. So like they lose. I don't know, that doesn't seem fair towards the one person who's actually cracked at the game. Because what's he gonna do, you know? Go to a better team? That's not always viable, because I think they do that. They kind of switch teams once in a while. Once they just roll a dice every time, and they're like, should this person move? Yeah, or maybe they shouldn't. It's just kind of random. But the best part about sports is that, I like tennis. Tennis is like a one-player guy. So if I win at tennis, it's because I'm good at the game. If I win at hockey, it's because my team was good at the game. And honestly, they're 2 different skill sets. Communicating with your team and being able to know the sport alone, like in tennis. In tennis, you don't have to communicate with anyone. You don't have to have good communication, teamwork skills. That's not a required. I'm talking about one-player tennis. 2-player tennis is obviously a different story. But one-player tennis, it's a different skill set because you just have to be good. You gotta know all the tennis stuffs. But in hockey, you gotta know the tennis stuffs. Plus, you gotta know how to talk to people, which isn't always that easy. Talking to people is actually quite difficult, especially for me, who runs a podcast. Which is, talking is actually pretty easy. But getting them to actually care about what you talk about, it's not easy. No one ever cares. That's because I talk about random topics like podcast, politics, and sports, which are my 3 first episodes. You can check them out. I recommend watching the other 2 after you finish this one, unless you already watched them. Just do them just listen while you're doing something else. Give me the views, the watch time. It doesn't matter yet to me. But if I get enough people doing it, then I make money from it, which is pretty cool. No money though, yet. I doubt I'll ever get that, because I think podcasts are fun. Honestly, this is pretty fun to do every day, just sitting down talking about bullshit. I told you I wouldn't swear, but I swore. I'm sorry. I said this. I said the shit word. I apologize. So, anyways, 2 different skill sets. Hockey, you need teamwork. Tennis, you need solo work. You need to work on yourself. You gotta care about yourself a lot. What's another sport? 2-player tennis. That's a lot less communication than like hockey, but 2-player tennis is also, you need communication. Like, you need to talk to your partner. In fact, it might even be more important, maybe, because you have to communicate. If in a hockey team, let's say someone sees something and it's not you, that person can say, basically there's a lot less room for error, whereas in tennis, if your partner doesn't see something, it's up to you to tell them. Whereas in hockey, let's say one person doesn't see something, literally anyone could tell them. It doesn't have to be you. You could just do nothing, even if it would be easier. Tennis, you're kind of responsible for letting your teammate know. But at the same time, there's a lot less people to communicate to. So you have to scream a lot less, I feel. Whereas in hockey, guess what? The rink is humongous among us. The rink is huge, but in tennis, it's like the court is really small. Well, it's actually quite kind of big. It's bigger than you'd expect, but it's definitely smaller than a hockey rink. Come on. So what's the point? what's the point of all of this? Why are we talking about sports? It's because sports actually cost money. Ever tried to go to a sport? I have. I've gone to a few sports in my time alive on this planet. I've gone to sports. They're pretty easy. They're easy to watch. I'll give them that. Are they enjoyable to watch? Not really. I really don't care. Once I played the sport myself, I don't think I'd care about the sport. Let's say I'm a really big tennis man. I play tennis every single day. I'd probably want to go to a tennis tournament and just see how they go. Even if I'm not doing anything, I like to see how they go, so I know what to do for my turn. But I wouldn't want to go if I don't play the sport, because that just seems like a waste of time. I mean, I'd go if my friends went. They invited me to go. I'd be like, oh yeah, obviously, wouldn't miss it. But like, I'm not there because of the sports. I'm there because of my friends, and I would do anything to spend time with them. But sports are a different basket, because they don't draw me in. Let's say I had an option to go to a sports alone or no sports at all. I'll just do no sports. I'd rather just work on my IA. But like why do people watch sports? Why do people watch sports? I get why people do it with other people because it's like a social event, but why would people do it alone? That just seems like that seems pretty sad. I guess how do you get invested in sports? Because I'm not really invested in any sports. Like my dad watches sports. I know people who watch sports, but I don't. I don't care about sports. I could care less. I do care less. I could care more, but I choose not to because they're so boring. But, sports is kind of what runs our economy. I live in the land of sport. My country that I live in has every single sport in the country. So, it's good. It's bound to be good. But there's only one really good sport out there, and that's I can't think of any sports. All sports are bad. I really struggle to think of any there. Baseball, that's the best sport. Why? Okay, look at a baseball. It's red and white. Tell me those are not the most visually appealing colors ever. Well, they aren't. They aren't. There's better color combinations out there, but red and white really helps the ball stand out. But you might say, but Mr. Podcast, the baseball is not red and white. And to that I say, I don't know. I don't look at baseballs. I'm not a baseball nerd. I don't know the color of all the baseballs. Who does? But baseball is like the best sport because they got those little bats. Bats are actually not safe to eat. Do not eat bats. Why? Because they're made of wood, and if you ate the wooden bats, it'd probably be too much fiber for your body to handle, and I don't think you'd survive. Like, honestly, don't eat bats. Not good for you. What if you eat the more corky bats? I think lots of bats have like cork on the inside. What if you eat that part? I don't think that's good for you either, because I feel like that'll clog up your body. Unless you eat it like really small doses. Not doses, like little small chunks. Just eat it really slowly. I still don't think you're safe because that doesn't seem safe to me. This topic is like the stupidest topic. I have nothing to pick. I have nothing to talk about. We're like 14 minutes in. Do you want me to talk about like something else? Maybe just something else will work. I changed the background on my computer to be all no-name themed. Yeah, no. Was it a good idea? Probably not, but it looks hilarious. It's just bright yellow with like black words everywhere. Every app is just named like Google Chrome, black text with the background just being yellow. It's so funny. It's pretty funny. That's just how it is. Sports. Do I play any sports? Yeah, I play basketball. I don't play basketball, but it's a sport that exists, and that's one that I know of. It exists. How do you play basketball? I'll teach you. So, you have the ball, right? Push it down. This is assuming you hold it in the air, push it down until it leaves your hand. Do not keep grip of the ball. This is the biggest mistake. Most people just try to push it down, but they just keep on holding it so it gets stuck to their hand like glue. And then they start walking, and then they got called out because you can't walk with the ball, you idiot. Why do they not want you to walk with the ball? Okay, the organization, it's called the BEA, the Basketball Evil Association. They want you to hurt your hands as much as possible. So you gotta keep slapping it against the ground. You slap the ball, it goes onto the ground, and it comes back up, and you slap it again. Because they just hate you. They don't want you to have a fun time. So you can't just hold the ball with one hand and run. You gotta keep slapping it. That's like the dumbest thing ever. That's like you're eating a meal, but in order to keep the food in front of you, you have to keep talking. Like you have to talk without stopping. Like that just sounds like a pain in the ass. Who would talk without ever stopping? Like honestly, I bet only losers would do that. Would only have a run-on sentence that goes for 30 minutes long, and we're only at 16 minutes, and I don't know how to fill the rest of the time. That's okay. Because we can think of a new topic together, How about you write in the comments what my topic should be? I can't read it, so it's no point in that, but I can read it and do a future video about any topic that you want. I currently get 0 comments, so if you comment literally anything, I'll turn that into a video. How's that sound? I'll make a Christmas video like tomorrow, a Christmas podcast. Maybe I can bring on Santa Claus. I'm sure he has lots of stuff to talk about. Mr. Claus himself. I don't know why I'm talking about sports today. Sports is like a dumb topic. I did politics yesterday. That was an even stupider topic. Why am I picking the worst topics to make stuff out of? I don't care about these topics at all. I'm just using random topic generators. Should I talk about something that I actually care about? Probably. All the stuff I care about aren't long enough to make a podcast, in my opinion. But neither are the topics. They don't even last. Like now I'm just talking about being upset about the topic. Sports, more like farts, am I right? Because farts are actually useful, unlike sports, because sports are just a piece of garbage. Why do I dislike sports so much? It's because everyone cares about them, and I don't see the point in them. I get the excitement, like, ooh, they're doing stuff. No, actually, I don't see the excitement. I mean, I guess people walking around doing stuff, because it's like, it's impressive, I guess. Is it the impressiveness of it? Are they following the people, or are they following the sports teams? Because if you're following like a person, that makes sense. You look up to this person because maybe they do something that you do. Maybe they're really similar to the way you play, but like really good at the sport. Then it makes sense to follow them and like watch them throughout their career, and you can kind of mimic them or whatever. You can watch multiple people, get multiple versions, and you get good. But most people who like sports don't even play it themselves, so what's the point? That's the thing about things. Like I don't get why people like things, but they don't do them. I like a lot of like professional things, but that's because I do a lot of things myself. I play chess. I promise. I play chess, and I like watching the professional chessers, because why? Well, I want to see how they do it, so I can kind of learn. If I played a sport, I'm sure I'd love to see the sport be played like on the TV, because then I'd get to learn how to do it. But these people, by these people, I mean literally everyone, they don't play sports, yet they still care so much about it. They gotta watch the sport. Cannot miss it. But like, yeah, you can. You don't play the sport. Why do you care? Maybe you really liked this one person because of their personality, their sport personality, how they play on the field. You really like their style, so you follow this one person. How do you follow a team? That just doesn't seem possible to me. You're following a group of people that's constantly shifting over time. Like in hockey, like you're following a team at like, you follow a team once, and then like, let's say like 40 years later, you're still watching the same team. Like, bro, those are not the same people. There are people on this team that weren't even born when you were first started watching, man. Like, come on. How I don't know. I don't get why sports are popular. I don't get why they exist. And everyone in sports is the same age anyway. Like, they're literally all the same age. Like, that makes sense, though, because, like, there's a certain age where your body is, like, the most strong and the most capable at stuff. And while that does fluctuate your age, because some people are just really cracked at a really young age, and they can just go at it. Most people can't at a young age because they're busy, like, maybe existing and having friends and a social life. But we're having a solo life. That's also fine, too. I don't judge people who have less friends. That's fine. I didn't have many friends either. Still don't. I'd like more. Friends are nice. Friends are nice. How many friends do I have? Enough. Enough. Not enough. I can always have more, you know? But enough to keep me happy for now, as long as they stay friends. As long as everyone stays friends with me that I am good. But with sports, like, they're constantly going in and out. How do you have enough time to care about everyone on this team? I guess you don't. You just care about the team itself. But what is the team? Is it the coach, the leader man? No. No one's ever talked about the coach, the leader guy, whatever he's called, the team manager. No one ever talks about that guy. They talk about the team itself. Oh yeah, I follow insert sport team name here. I don't know any sport team names. I follow the Blue Jays, baseball reference. I follow the Blue Jays. What do you mean you follow the Blue Jays? You follow them because you're a photographer. Like, yeah, I know the Blue Jays have nice big wings, but, like, no one cares. The sport, I forgot. Baseball. Yes, maybe, like, what are you following? What's there to follow? Their social media account? No. What's there to follow with the team? Let's say I'm following the Blue Jays, right? Am I following the players? No, because they change all the time. The players are suddenly getting too old to play anymore. They're all retiring. Players are also getting drafted to other teams. Why don't I follow those teams? No, I follow the team. Whatever the Blue Jays is. Wait, what if the team manager switches up? You know, am I still following the team? Yeah, it's the same people. What if the people change? No, it's the same manager. Like, bruh, what are you doing? Like, how? How? Actually, no. This time is pretty accurate. 22 and a half minutes. We're doing pretty good. Podcast. I want to talk about something else. But sports are, like, the only thing I have in my mind now. I know I like video games. I should do a video game day once where I just talk about video games for half an hour. This is such a waste of half an hour, but it's so fun because I just get to talk and ramble. I ramble anyways. Like, I'm just talking to myself, but now I get to do it in front of an audience. Yay. But usually I ramble about, like, personal conflicts and stuff. But I can't do that on here because that sounds like a stupid thing to do. I'm not going to talk about myself. More like you. I mean, I could. But that's just boring, and I don't want to do that, because I care about my sanity. I don't want everyone knowing all about me. I'll probably talk about me in some episodes, like a story time episode. This one time I played hockey. This one time I played tennis. These 5 times I played tennis. These 10 times I don't play tennis. I've played tennis a few times, but not as many as you might think. I'm not really a tennis fiend. I don't really know much about it. I mean, it's a sport that exists, and that's about the biggest compliment I can give tennis. Most sports exist. Like, they exist, and, like, they're watchable. When you watch a sport, it really makes you go, wow, I just watched something, and now it's done. It's like watching a crappy YouTube video. It ends, and you're like, I did not get anything out of that. Unless your team wins in the sport, like the team you're following. Somehow you follow a team, and let's say they win, you go, woohoo! Anyway, time for me to be upset, because I know they're gonna lose the next game. And then the next game happens, and they win, you're like, oh, I know they're gonna lose the next. Well, let's say they do lose this game, you're like, oh, I knew they're gonna lose that game. This team sucks, I hate this sport. I'm like, bruh, why? It's a perpetual state of anger and people being mean to each other. So I don't like sports, but mostly because of how it drives people apart. My father loves hockey, but it just makes him so upset all the time. And I don't like that. And I like him happy. I want to be happy. And it kind of makes me sad when he's not happy. When his team's losing, he gets all grumpy. Even when his team wins, he gets all grumpy because of the stress that it causes. Like, sports shouldn't be causing you stress. It's a sport. They're supposed to be stressed, not you. Because this determines their paycheck. Your paycheck is not changed by the outcome of the sports. Luckily, because I do not work for sports people. I work for myself. I have a self company. What's my company name? The podcast. Let's go. No, I work somewhere else. I work for myself. I do. I work. I don't know if I should say what I do, because I don't know how much of myself I should talk about here. I'll probably say eventually. Not now. Today we're talking about sports, baby! I used to play football/soccer when I was younger. I played it up until I was 13, pretty much, yeah. I played it. I remember when my parents first said, Hey, Mr. Podcast, you're gonna play soccer. I immediately walked outside the house and I started crying. They didn't know, but I did not want to do that. Like, I don't want to play that sport, man. That sports sounds like a pain. I knew what I was getting into. I knew what the sport was. I did not want to play it. I don't know how I knew what the sport was. I was so young. I don't know how old I was. Like 5, maybe? 6? Oh, something like that. They're like, you're playing the sport. And I was like, no. And then I kind of just disliked it the whole time until I was 13. And I was like, no, you know what? No more of this. I quit. And I quit football/soccer, the ball kicking game. And then I never played any sports again. Mostly. That's a pretty generalizing statement about what I did. But overall, things have been going pretty well between me and sports. Why is... I feel like this is a tough pod. It's really tough to get to like the last minutes or so. I need to get in a bunch more time. But how are you doing today? I've done this like every episode. I just say, how are you doing, for no reason. I do that in real life conversations. I don't know what to talk about. I go, how are you doing? And they go, I'm good, how are you? Then I say, I'm good, how are you? And then I realize, oh shit, I'm a stupid pants. I said, how are you? And they already said, why do I do that? I genuinely just, I can't, I am not good at conversations. Like, I have a formulaic approach to conversations, and I can't always, it doesn't always work. Because my formula is also flawed, and I've never bothered to fix it. Because I say, hello, how are you? And they go, hello, I'm good, how are you? And I go, I'm good, how are you? I ask, how are you, twice. And then it just ends up being like, oh, well, shit. Me and my sister had like the joke where we kept saying, I'm good, how are you, back like a ton of times. Forever. Until our mom was just like, bro, no, stop. We gotta eat food or something. It's supper time. Come on. Break it up. I'm like, fine. And she's like 10 years younger than me. But it's still hilarious. Still very funny. In my opinion. Haven't done that in a long time. That was fun though. She was nice. She was nice. Sports though. No, that's not a sport. That's just me being stupid at conversations because I can't do them. I can somewhat do conversations. I'm just not that good at them. Someone's messaged me right now, but like, excuse me, I'm filming a podcast, so leave me alone. It's not someone you know. It's a different person. Yeah, you have zero relation to this person at all. You would never be able to guess this person that just messaged me in a million years. I don't even know who it is. I don't know who it is, but odds are you don't know who it is. I don't care. I like when people message me. It makes me feel nice. Makes me feel like I'm actually worth someone's time to click a little on their keyboard, you know? If someone messages me, I'm like, oh, I matter a little bit. I don't go out of my way to message people all the time, so I don't really do it back because I always message back. I just don't start messaging because then it feels like, I don't know, it just feels really weird. Because it's like I'm the one, it's like I feel like they would think that I'm, oh, why is this person, it's like, I feel like they'd feel like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, I just want to talk to someone. And they'd be like, why me? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to talk to like literally anyone. Maybe you in particular because you're who I enjoy talking to. That's a good reason to want to talk to someone, because you enjoy it. I'm past my time limit. I can just stop now. Sports are interesting. I don't like them, but I can see why people like them. And if you like them, that's perfectly fine. You can listen to my podcast anyway, because I'll never talk about sports again. Woohoo! If you dislike sports, make sure to mention that in the comments or something. And I will see you tomorrow, or maybe not. I'll see you next episode, episode 4. See ya. Bye.